It is almost midnight and it's 88 degrees. That is crazy. I normally can only survive in a house that is less than 65 or 67 degrees. But it is currently 80 or 70. What is it? It's 78. And my air conditioning has been running all day long. I actually have two. I have central air and I have a large air conditioning unit in my bedroom. And I'm about to purchase a medium or small air conditioning unit for my kitchen. But I might actually put it in my middle room and then just have a fan blowing in my kitchen. But why did I make this video? Oh, I wanted to tell everyone the good news. I took Samson to be evaluated for professional training as a service animal. Service dog, service animal. And they said he looks good, he's strong, he's good tempered, he loves. The only mark or tisk would be that he's slightly or minorly dog reactive. He just has his physical body, he reacts physically. He doesn't react like action wise, but his physical body changes, which is still not good. A service dog, when he's fully trained, he will only be focused on me. He will be stuck to my hip. He will follow me everywhere. If someone is trying to prevent him from me, he should be trying to do his best to get to me. But I just wanted to run through some tasks that we were talking about that would be a cool idea. Originally, I wanted to get a mini fridge with a rope and some some hard plastic water bottles for Samson to fetch my medicine bag and a drink and remind me to take my medicine. But she said that's a possibility. It's just that is a highly advanced task. So what we compromised with, I would still want to work with that. But so far, she set my expectation at having an alarm or any alarm that goes off to notify me and wake me up and remind me to take my medicine. And that he would have on him a vest that holds a couple days worth of medicine, and I would just refill it every week or every couple days. And I would want that. He would also hold in his vest a water bottle and his water bowl, so when we go on a walk. And he would honestly be holding stuff for Glacies too, just like they'd share water bottles and water. And it'd just be one water bottle. I'd hold bigger stuff. And he would also hold his papers. There is no federal registration for service animals, which is sad because really, let's say I wasn't diagnosed with a federal disability, and that's that. And I didn't have my diagnoses. I was a neurotypical person, no disability, and that, let's just say that's who I was. I could get a dog, and if someone confronted me and said, "Show me your papers," that's illegal. The only thing you're allowed to ask someone with a service animal is, "Are you disabled?" No, sorry, they can't even ask that. Is that a service animal, and is he trained in a task? They can't ask what task, but the answer but a neurotypical person who's trying to cheat the system could say yes and yes, and that's it. Now, if the dog was acting up, obviously things could escalate, but really right now with the lack of regulation, federal regulation, there's really not much you can do. An emotional, by the way, even though my disability is psychiatric, a trained service animal is not an emotional support dog because the service animal is trained. An emotional support dog is literally just a dog. Like, you could do Canine Good Citizen if you want to do something, but I literally could call Samson an emotional support dog right now. I could call him that the day I got him, but it's not a service animal and they don't have the same rights. The cool thing I learned when I got him evaluated is if I did it there, and this might be other places too, when you pass their qualifications, which is actually stricter than the qualifications of a real well, not a real, but a actual service dog, their qualifications were stricter. You only have to know one task to be a federally acknowledged service animal. Again, there's no certification, but like if it goes to law or the court, they need to be at least trained in one task. That's the whole point. But for what I was saying, I'll just go back to the fact that just because my mental illness is a mental illness and not a physical illness, my service dog would be trained in physical tasks around my diagnosis, which is a disability. So even though I have a psychiatric disability, I am privileged and entitled to have a service dog, period. You could call it a psychiatric service dog, but you could also just say service dog, because he will be trained in, going back to the task. So basically I would say she said that the getting the water and getting the medicine would be difficult, but you could put the medicine in a bag and train him to go off to an alarm. So, like, I could set an alarm, and when it goes off, if I'm sleeping, he would either bark or jump up on the bed, not all the way on the bed, but just his two front paws. He could lick me. She asked, what is he likely to do? And that would probably be jump up on his two front paws and just be there. He doesn't bark that much. He does cry sometimes. Well, really, when he was in his crate that I no longer use, because I learned that he is well behaved and able to be at home alone with Glacies and not get into trouble. But basically, I would say he's just going to go off to an alarm. There'll be an alarm in the morning and night, and he will come to me, and he will get my attention. And again, there'll be a drink in his, like if we were going for a walk, I'd put water in his vest for him. But in normal daily life, I would put a flavored drink in there. Something lightweight, because he'll be carrying it around all the time. But again, he's a very strong 86-pound dog. He's very strong, so he will be able to handle it. And that is the first task. The other task is interrupting psychotic episodes, which are, like I say psychotic episodes, it sounds dramatic, but a psychotic episode, one example of a psychotic episode for me would like if you were an exterior person, all I would do is randomly hit my fist in my palm, just really hard. And I noticed he notices that when he's not even watching, it gets his attention, and I now call him over to start training him to notice that, because why I'm doing that is because there would have been a thought in my head that I would be ruminating on that would fill me to the point of anger that causes me to strike my hand. Also, tone of voice would be a good one for him to react to. But basically, again, interruption would be kind of the same response to waking me up. It would be leaning against me, it'd be pulling at my clothes, it'd be begging for attention. It would be all these things. That would be the way to interrupt a psychotic episode or just trauma or whatever. Another one is if I'm in a crowded room or area, I could give him a cue to circle around me, and that would give me space. Another one would be she was talking about stance. Like if I'm threatened, that they could either have him where he stands between my legs, facing forwards. He stands, like they said, if you're at a checkout, sometimes the dog will sit and face behind the person to watch their back, and they would alert them if there was a threat. So there are several different tactics. I haven't decided where he would be. I honestly would like him to stand in front of me, but be aware of behind me and in front of me. And preferably behind him, because he'd be facing one direction. I would just like him to be highly aware. I'd be fine if he changes positions from either direction. I honestly would be fine if he's just trained to pace around me. But those are the tasks that I can think of. There were a couple other ones that I don't recall right now. One that I don't think, or at least the lady said she doesn't know how she would train a dog, but I wanted, one of a task for a disabled person for a service dog can be finding a safe place or an exit, or finding a safe place and exit, or a bathroom. And obviously the bathroom can be done by smell, but she said if a dog has never been in a location, she doesn't know how to train the dog, or how she even would train the dog to find a safe place. Now, even though that would be officially on paper, well, there's no paperwork, but if there were paperwork, officially it would be on there for my disability. But another reason I wanted to find a safe space or an exit is if there was an active shooter. Because even though I've never been in a shooting, like, event, it does, I wouldn't call it, I'm not diagnosed with PTSD, but when I was in college, I literally would sit, depending on where I think I could leave the quickest if there was an active shooter. So, depending on the location of the classroom, I would sit in different areas. And even though anxiety is a symptom of my disability, I wouldn't say training a dog to find an exit is technically, I don't know, it would be getting me out of a situation, but I'm just saying that was an extra. The other extra is that I would love to make him a cadaver dog or some other type of interesting scent tracker. If I'm paying thousands of dollars, I would expect to have really everything I want, or everything I want that's possible. Like, when I talked with her, she was having doubts with finding an exit or a safe space. Or carrying stuff, retrieving stuff that aren't toys. But I think some other trainers could find out to do that. Like, there were strike marks with that previous business because I was uncomfortable with how they corrected him. Even though I now use a chain collar, she was very hard, which she said was necessary. But she was very hard, and he cried the third time she did it, but not before or after. So I'm just looking forward to him becoming a service dog, and I want to thank everyone who has been listening to all the recent updates. Apologize for the craziness, but I felt and feel called to do what I did and do. Anyways, God bless.